Thank you.
Trustee Lindsay, you're good to go.
Thank you. Aloha kako.
Aloha.
I would like to call today's Public Land Trust Working Group meeting to order. Let the record reflect that it is Wednesday, December 11, 2024. And the time is 8:11. We are recording this remote meeting held by interactive conference technology. The members present in today's meeting are Sherry Broder, Don Chang, Ryan Kanakaole, Louis Salaveria, and myself, and Kudu Lindsay, and our Kohana, Stacy Ferreira. Brickwood Galataria is excused, and administrative and technical support are provided by Stacy Ferreira, Everett Ota, Amber Kalua, and Arlene Aguinaldo. First on our agenda is draft of the interim report to legislature. The report on the status of including appropriation in governor's budget for retention of expert consultants to analyze for accuracy and completeness state and county agency reporting for the Public Land Trust Information System and DLNR Act 178 report to the legislature. So for that first item, I'm going to ask Louis to give us a report.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chair. So I did speak to the governor, and he definitely said, okay. The only thing is that we weren't able to put it into the executive budget that's going in right now, so we will be putting it in as a governor's message. The request that, as it's going to come in through, is going to be for about 700. Is going to be for 750K from the administration. What I guess the proposal is that the state would go in, ask for 750K, and that OHA possibly could go in their biennium budget and ask for the remaining 250K to bring it up to a total of 1 million. So once the submission is in and everything, and once the legislative session starts, we'll go ahead and send on a governor's message with that budget request there.
So does the governor's message have as much effect as?
Oh yeah, it's the exact same
budget.
thing. It's just oftentimes, and Stacy can attest to this, because the budget process is such a, the budget development process is kind of chaotic. Some things just don't get in the beginning. Arguably, you could say that, this will get more attention because it'll actually come in as an individual message from the governor saying, I want to request 750,000 specifically for continuation of the work the PLTWG is doing.
Well, thank you, Louis, for doing that. And it gives me great hope that we're going to be able to do some things to move forward. So I think it's terrific. And I think it's really important to recognize that the governor is supporting us. And I think that's going to make a big difference in what we're able to do as well, because we need the cooperation of the agencies to be able to make our way through it. So all in the law.
Yeah, I thank the governor.
All right. Thank you, Governor.
Could I ask a question? So who will it be appropriated to? Which agency?
We're going to appropriate it to DLNR. Yeah.
Mahalo.
And exactly how we're going to use it, the money.
So I guess maybe we can have that that discussion. The intention really was, one, to continue to work, and also to be able to put together consultants in order to take a look at the existing system, well as do an assessment of the inventory to make sure that it is as accurate as possible, and any type of modifications or improvements that need to be done to the system to make sure that the information is reported accurately.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether we were going to do another and I'm not sure what you mean by assessment, but like the audit that we did in 2016.
The NK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure, I think I think part of a conversation that we've been having, right, is like everything stems from making sure that we have an accurate listing of of the land inventory, right? I think the NNK, if you look at the NNK audit, the NNK audit was primarily an audit of the receipts. That's one thing. So I've always kind of viewed it as kind of sequential, right? Let's make sure that we have an accurate inventory of the land. And then let's have an accurate inventory of revenues going forward, right? And I think, you know, it's hard to kind of go to revenues if we don't have the accurate inventory of the land. So I think part of that was to really address the issue of whether or not we have an accurate inventory of the land. I
Yep, no, that's my understanding.
So the upgrade of that system,
So that would be separate from our upgrade. So we're
Right.
upgrading. So this was sort of that independent third-party assessment
right,
on the accuracy of DLNR's PLTIS.
right.
And
So will this upgrade help, let's say the task that we're
Oh,
gonna,
yes, oh,
Mhm.
yes,
I mean, you know,
specifically for that.
it's like stepping stones
Yeah.
Mhm,
to
mhm,
get to
mhm.
the end result.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, okay.
Yeah. That's correct, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's my
well,
understanding.
I'm not sure if it has to be a two-step process. I think what I would like to see us do is talk to some experts. I mean, I think I felt great frustration because I'm not an expert in either one of these areas. But I mean, I think that maybe that's for future discussion, exactly
Mhm.
how we do the procurement notice
Mhm.
and how we put together the package of how we would do it.
Okay.
So I don't have a set opinion myself on how it would be done, but I think what Louis is saying makes sense. I just don't know what they would say. You know, when we did the NNK though, they wouldn't call it an audit because they weren't getting enough information. So they only called it a financial review.
Mhm.
So I think, I mean, that would be one thing we want to clear up first, up front with whoever, before we send out a procurement notice as well.
Mhm.
I mean, we might want to hire the people at the same time because maybe they would need to work together. You know, the financial people might have information for the land people might have information for the financial people. So I'm guess I'm just not 100% sure how we would actually go about doing it.
'Cause a million is not gonna go very far.
I
No,
think you're
so-
absolutely right. So maybe,
We're conservative with that number.
yeah, I think that we're just trying to think of how much we might possibly be able to get.
I mean, it may be a phase one of
Yeah.
where you're actually hiring consultants. We
Mhm.
explain what our concerns and problems are,
Yeah,
and you hire a consultant to develop the scope of work for the procurement.
yeah,
Because I think that's gonna make a big difference. What is the scope of work? What's the instructions to the consultant? So I think that may take some time to
yeah.
ensure that whatever product we have is reflective of the working group's intentions.
I think that's well said.
Did you? Were you gonna say- Okay, yeah, okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Eric, you wanna do it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So DLNR would be the external agency and that we would be contracting on behalf of the working group, so that like the scope of work, everything would be.
Yeah. And that was a point of discussion, right? Whether or not, and actually,
Yeah.
it kind of also makes sense that if we're gonna do this jointly, right, we go in for 250, or, you know, OHA goes in for 250, we go in for the, I'll double check, but what we probably could do is just contract it out to OHA.
No,
And
that
then
would be
OHA,
even
under
better.
its existing
Yeah.
procurement exemptions,
We'll move
probably
quicker too.
could be able to move quicker.
that
And I
sounds like
think
a
you-
very
you
good
made that
idea.
Comment,
Yeah.
Stacy, yeah,
Mhm.
that would be a lot faster than having it come to us.
Agreed.
Well, maybe we should vote on that just so, because we're gonna be at the legislature before we wake up tomorrow morning.
Vote on,
You know, who would be just what you said,
Oh, okay,
the
yeah,
procedure
yeah.
between the two agencies.
Mhm.
That's it, just
do we have
that.
to put that in? I mean, or does that then happen after we get the money?
It would happen after we get the
Okay,
money.
so I
Because
mean,
we
that-
don't need to.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay,
'cause-
that sounds
Yeah,
even
yeah,
better,
yeah, yeah.
because, yeah, we
Yeah.
see the same
Right,
red
right,
flag.
okay, right, right,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
okay, okay.
Okay.
that will require, so.
Well, I'm really
yeah.
excited. I'm like dazzled.
And if it's okay, can I work with you, Louis, on just how it's reflected in our budget request?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna come in as a GM.
Yeah.
I want to be able to reference
Mm.
the GM, but I don't
Sure.
know, is it hopefully GM one?
I don't know. There are gonna be a few GMs this go around because, this is the governor's first
Mm.
full biennium budget, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that's going in right now,
Okay.
and everything.
I'm just
So,
thinking
I mean, it'd be nice if it was
technically wise,
one.
how it's gonna
Yeah.
play out. There may be questions
Yeah.
when they,
Yeah.
as they look at appropriations for OHA with a pending GM. I don't know how that's gonna look.
Mm,
I don't know, but we can talk
Well,
about it.
right, the process is once the GM goes down,
Mhm.
and, again, the plan is to send it down as quickly as possible so that it gets into the houses.
Yes,
So the house can review,
exactly.
right? And we could do that, get that in. The GM itself would be fairly innocuous, right? Governor requests $750,000 to continue the work of the Public Land Trust Working Group for the purposes of so and so. 750,000 to, and I'm just, mechanics wise, I don't know if we put it in the director's office for DLNR, maybe. So
We would do it in
Yeah.
administration for ours.
into the
Yeah.
administration. Yeah.
Because we couldn't just the appropriation be directly to OHUD. It has to come to the state agency.
Yeah, we,
first? Okay,
it would end up being
Appropriate
ours,
and
yeah,
expended.
okay,
appropriated, and then contract with,
yeah.
with OHA to,
Okay.
with the money to expend, and then OHA can
And
bring in
does the
their
two
portion.
fifty come to us?
Yes,
But yes, because it's gonna be a request in our budget.
Mm.
But I guess my question, again, it's more technical to Louis, is
Mm.
how do we reflect
Mm.
that this 250 is
it
connected
is connected
to
to the two, that
the
they're basically, I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing, right? I mean, this is the two,
collaboration?
they're
at its best.
collaborating.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, because I don't want the legislature to say yes to 750 and no to 250.
Right,
Yeah.
You know.
that's what I'm thinking. I just want to figure out how to reflect that
Mhm.
if we don't know which GM it's gonna come.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's GM one, because that'll be
Well,
early on.
Yeah, so it's depending on, how the number of GMs that's gonna go
Correct.
in, it'll just go in sequentially, but it'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, good. Oh, okay.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We're on a roll.
Um, So we do have somebody online that wants to testify.
Oh, okay.
But we need to go through the agenda first and then ask for the testimony. Actually, I'll ask her for this
Yeah.
subject matter because we're kind of done with it, but Jermaine, hi Jermaine, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you really well. So we'll
Okay, excellent.
allow you to testify on item 1 of the agenda. I mean, 2-1.
Okay, is that what you're on? Or item 2.1?
Yes.
And item
We
2.1 is
just
the report
discussed,
on,
we just discussed the money that the governor said he'll put in his budget for us to hire expert consultants to analyze the accuracy and completeness of the state and county agency reporting for the Public Land Trust Information System.
okay, excellent. I do want to address the other two agenda items when it comes to that. But as far as for this agenda item, mahalo to all the people in the room. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm a OHA beneficiary for beneficiary advocacy and empowerment. And I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian homestead lessee. Mahalo for convening these meetings. I have watched the videos of the last 16 meetings that you've had. I mahalo Sherry Broder and Chair Hulu Lindsay for really representing OHA in a positive manner in order to try to resolve this issue of getting the pro rata as we are due. I also appreciate Kapohana Stacy, because I do recall watching one of the meetings in which she had recommended what you're going through today, which is to put into the governor's budget for the allocation of funds in order to complete this comprehensive and accurate report of the lands that are part of the PLT. So I basically wanted to come on and mahalo you, and I hope that for the next two agenda items, it can come to a recognition that here I am talking to you virtually. You are in Nimitz Highway at Nalamakukui, and I am in my carport in Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead, and we're having this conversation. If we can have this conversation and not even face to face with you, and I'm merely talking through a device, I believe that we can find the means and the resources and the applications and the people that can make it possible for once and for all the public land trust inventory to have an accurate report, and also for there to be a template of how everyone is to report it so that it is accurate, and that the Native Hawaiians, including myself and Maya Ohana, that OHA will get the funds that will be able to service us and our community. And so I just wanted to bring that up, and I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the next two agenda items. Mahalo, Chair.
Mahalo, Jermaine.
Thank you, Jermaine. We're going to move on to 2.2, review and approve joint PLTWG draft interim report to legislature. Jermaine, I'll let you come in on this one before we begin.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding this report, I'm hoping that there's not going to be any type of revisions about what Sherry Broder had specifically wanted to be included in the report, which is a voice of OHA that she had spoken about in the August meeting. And that I hope that all the members of this working group will understand that OHA is an agency of the entire state, the state of Hawaii, but they have a trust obligation to the beneficiaries. And I hope that the governor understands that as he has an obligations to the residents of the state of Hawaii, and as the legislature understands that they have individually kuleana and duties to their constituents in their community, so does OHA have this kuleana. And I'm hoping that everyone that's on this table can understand that, and that they have a right to speak to the legislature about our voice, the Native Hawaiian voice, and not just the governor's voice, or not just public agencies that have public land trusts or using the public land trusts. And I don't want to rehash the history, but I feel that Sherry Broder is a great representative for us in advocating. I consider myself an advocate, and there have been chapters in my life in my advocacy work that I really wanted to give up when you hit a wall. But I'm so grateful that Sherry has continued on, and that I witnessed her speak up at the August meeting against DLNR, who wanted our voice to be silenced. And I'm so grateful that she has spoken up and said it very diplomatically and very honorably, after being for years and years and years on public land trust working group committees. I hope that in 2024, as we're ending 2024, that we can all come to a consensus, and that it would be honored for the 2025 legislation session, that OHA's voice will be heard. And then once and for all, we can resolve this matter. As I said in my previous testimony, if we can speak over a device, unless you have the will, there won't be a way. There will always be a wall. So I hope and pray that everyone in the room, including and you are the representatives of the governor, that you continue to assert a will to serve the Native Hawaiians and stop the walls, take down the walls. If you say you want to put up walls for housing and affordable housing, then that also has to include to take down the walls of objecting to the Native Hawaiians receiving our pro rata share, 20%. And not all of this kind of fancy schmancy accounting that UH does and other departments do in order to give us less money than what is due. I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the next agenda item. Mahalo.
Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank you very much, Jermaine. Mahalo nui loa for all your complimentary, appreciative words about me, and I really appreciate it. I do feel very optimistic this morning because we heard from the Director of Budget and Finance that he did talk to the governor, and the governor is going to put in the governor's message some funding for this project that I've been trying to get us to be able to do, which is to hire professionals, people who know what they're doing, who understand land, who understand accounting, to review what we have so far, to see what we need to do to improve it and make it accurate and complete. So I feel very good that the governor has agreed to do this, and I'm really looking forward now to our joint effort. I don't feel quite as strongly as I did about the joint report because everybody's agreed that OHA could do its supplemental report. And I feel that that will really help make sure that OHA's voice is heard all around. I consider the governor's commitment on supporting the project that we want to do, to make sure that the inventory and the financial reporting is accurate and complete, that is very important and will allow us to be able to go ahead and do it. You know, you have to consider that in order to be able to do it, we need the cooperation of all the state agencies. And now that the governor has agreed to put funding for the project in his budget, I know that the state agencies will cooperate because that's their job, to follow the direction and instructions of the governor. So I think we've made really an incredible progress, and today is a very exciting day and the next step forward. I do want to draw attention to and compliment the three members of the state who are here. And as you heard me say before, you know, I've done this many times, and I feel like today I see some real progress. And I'm sure that it's because of the three of them and their efforts to convince the governor that this is a good idea. They've been very participatory and come to all the meetings, and I've listened to me many times and continuing to listen to me this morning. So I want to make sure that they are recognized as the distinguished state officials that they are. And I also notice that they too have a passion for making sure that the wrongs to Hawaiian people are remedied.
Thank you very much. That's very thoughtful.
Okay, well, let's look at the report. Where's Amber? Are we going to put it up on the screen, or are we just going to look at?
I guess Amber.
Oh,
I've
she
emailed
is?
you
All
guys,
right,
and then we
great.
just go straight through because
Okay,
I think a lot of my
yeah,
edits were done in reflection of what we were discussing at the
okay,
last meeting.
All
And
right.
Like, really, we just can focus on the
Okay.
additions.
all right. So mahalo for putting it in the proper format, and I guess I'll need OHA's help to put our report in the proper format because I don't have your official letterhead.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so this is perfect. Let's go. I didn't make any changes. Those are all your changes. So if I didn't make
And
any
we're moving
changes,
forward.
if I didn't make any changes to your changes, then I accepted your changes, unless anybody else has something to say. Okay, keep going. Amber, keep going.
We went over that. Right?
Okay, keep going. See, thank you for all your good work.
Three.
What?
Stop.
Wait, okay.
Reverse one.
There, you know,
Yeah.
right here.
Oh, okay. It's not all showing up, my note. Just think I can remember what okay. I think that it's fair to indicate the dealing is priority to some, all right. I mean, I thought that was okay, but I guess is you're feeling strong about that, Dawn?
It's,
I just thought you wanted to give priority to your own budget. So I thought we were good
Yeah.
folks because we still supported your budget request, even though obviously we
Yeah.
wanted the other.
and
the
I, and I
funding.
think it was, I think for me, it was a matter of trying to have this be very objective and very simple. And as I read that, it was, it just sort of,
Do object to it.
I do.
Okay,
do,
all
I
right.
do,
I
I do,
will,
I do.
now that things have changed, where I'm not feeling like we're never gonna make any progress,
Okay,
and we gotta
okay.
get credit for
Okay, okay.
being good guys and supporting you anyways. I feel
Yeah.
like now
Oh,
there's support coming back in the
Now,
other
if I was-
direction.
if we would have
so-
known that, we would have had this conversation a lot sooner.
I asked you,
I know
how
that.
many times did I ask you, can I go to the
Yeah,
governor?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
don't want to ask,
Okay,
can
well,
I go just?
We
all
couldn't
right.
even go to the governor with
All
our
right.
budget at that time, but now
Okay.
we can, so.
All
no,
right.
Okay, so you're good.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay,
We'll
very
do it
good.
your way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's B1. Okay,
All right.
B2.
Is that okay? All right,
Okay,
okay.
B2. That's on. You highlighted the
public land trust inventory.
Wait, you're on my second comment. What does
Yeah.
it say? This section should continue
it points to
to,
the header
Header.
oh,
E.
on E.
uh, I can't even read it. Is there a way to make my comment bigger and the font bigger, Amber, and so that it shows the whole thing? Okay, thanks.
Oh.
All right, here,
I think
okay,
it was for inclusion of a complete and accurate inventory
okay.
as part of the
Yeah, okay, so I do want to have that language, I guess, the complete and accurate
so
inventory.
it'd read a copy of ceded lands in a complete and accurate inventory. Would it be of the public land?
Yes, of the public land trust. Well, it should be of the public land trust information system, right? No, it should be the inventory of the public land trust inventory. Okay,
Or
all right.
land trust, right? Maybe accurate inventory of the public land trust.
What does the app say?
That can clarify.
I guess I'm just trying to be as close, and I don't want to squabble. I want to pick and choose my battles too. So
Okay.
what does the act say?
Well, Act 54 does say complete
This is
and
the act that
accurate.
we're established under. 226. Yeah, sure. I don't, yeah, not want to get into the pick and choose, but I do, like I said, I think if the report can be just an objective reflection of what does the,
Well,
what we're
anyways, I
required to do.
consider that the law requires the DLNR to have a complete and accurate inventory because that language is directly from Act
Yeesh.
54.
we are.
So that's what
I
we're
don't know.
supposed to have done.
We are established under Act 226. That's what we're.
But the
established.
PLTIS is established under Act 54.
But I think we're trying to outline what we're required to do under 226, right? I don't have that act in front of me.
Right, yeah, it's
Okay.
up on earlier, it's under. Oh, it's page
Well, it
4
says
of the-
account for all ceded lands, account for all income and proceeds. So I would assume that that means that it should be complete and accurate by the use of the word all.
2022 session was, right?
If
Yeah,
you look
it's
at,
also up in
A.
earlier in this.
look at,
section.
look at your
Look at
thing
So
in
there's,
here, A.
yeah, section,
Oh, the
beginning of the
actual
interim
quotes.
report. Yeah, there's a reference to the, yeah.
Does it
that's the
quote
page.
also the?
This is
Relate-
verbatim, yeah.
That's Act two
Oh, yeah, right
twenty-six
there.
Oh, yeah,
verbatim, but
beginning.
Act 54 verbatim says that Deal and I were supposed to do a complete and accurate inventory.
But we're identifying in section E of this report, topics that we research relating to this report. You know,
That is verbatim.
that's okay. Well, is it
Or
verbatim
the-
on
the-
226 or what did you,
The
what?
section in that.
Oh, the first one,
Yeah,
the
the
opening is,
section, yeah.
yeah,
That's
this is,
verbatim on the-
and what does it say?
Account for all ceded lands in the public land trust inventory.
I guess, I'm sorry, it's verbatim as to the first two.
But it's relating to, discuss relating to accounting of, does it say a complete and accurate inventory?
No, I think to Sherry's point, that's inferred by the all.
Yeah.
And I
language.
took the language from Act 54, which is what Deal and I were supposed to do.
Like I said, I need to pick and choose my battle. This is not one I'm gonna.
Okay,
I'm
let's
gonna-
move
I'm
on.
gonna-
Can we
I'm-
just read out the phrase, because I just.
All right,
I'm being like a
yes.
stickler of like how it. reads.
Yes, okay.
Fine.
Topics researched and discussed. Okay, I guess those are your changes relating to. I,
Just want to like clean.
all right, I don't know, was that, I don't even know what section that is. No, but I mean, was this just to talk about the inventory? Didn't we, because we had two sections.
You want
One
to,
section was what we did on the inventory, and the other section was what we did on the accounting.
can we just go back to the, what you suggested then? Like,
Okay.
we would return, like reject the deletion. And then, I mean, I just capitalized because it's a header,
All right,
but otherwise, we just.
but you didn't
return-
cross
you guys
out,
said
I see,
capitalize,
I see.
Capitalize, capitalize.
All right, relating to.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted
That's
to
it.
use the term complete and accurate
Yeah.
inventory.
Which
Okay,
is actually included in that second sub-bullet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, so whether it was, whether or not we're referring to the inventory or the accounting, I wanted to use the phrase complete and accurate. So that's my objection.
That's fine,
Okay, all right.
or at least fine
So-
by me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you and I can just get the final language
Okay.
after the meeting.
Okay, that's your SB2. Okay,
Okay, so then I cited Act 54.
oh, we're gonna go back to, we're gonna delete, we're gonna go back to Sherry's original. Okay,
And just clean up in
Okay.
terms of
Okay.
formatting, that's.
All right,
Can we move on?
yes.
okay. Okay, so
Let Amber know when to stop.
I'm the blue, I assume.
Yeah, so your next comment
Okay.
is on one.
Okay, so one thing that you seem to do, Ryan, was I kept trying to blame it on the state agencies rather than DLNR.
Take
See.
away the attribution.
Yeah, so I did, well, not blame it, but I was just trying to say that, I mean, DLNR relies on this self-reporting, and so, and you don't have the resources to check everything that they tell you. So that therein lies the basic problem. I mean, DLNR has more resources to determine, land title, land chain of title, and expertise to do that. And DLNR has always been the best agency at the reporting of the income. So I was just trying to, I think, identify what's the basic problem here. And I was trying to say, well, it's not really DLNR. It's the way the system is set up.
So what's the proposed change?
I don't know. He kept trying to cut that out where I blame it on you. Yeah.
Are all the blue below.
Okay.
Move it
In
up,
the next.
That is the
Amber.
one.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's the PLTIS is, I
Yeah.
keep saying the same thing.
So the add twos. and
They relate to that issue.
Yeah.
So
so
I don't, I think that it's for your benefit. I mean, I want to do that because I feel that it explains what the problem is, and I think that it's important to honor what DLNR does do, that is done right. So it's not because of DLNR, it's because of the agency reporting.
And I have not, I mean, I like the rephrasing.
Okay, well, I'm sure I took it straight from the website, your
Yeah,
own
I know you took
website.
it from the website, but in terms of like the attribution, like how it was,
Yeah,
the framing of it in the previous version, I did not like.
all right, so this is
one-
better.
Okay, so
Okay.
my question then to the group is, because this is a.
Oh, okay, now
report,
we're into, okay, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
if we can conclude that these are findings of the group rather than statements on the website,
I
it's,
see. Okay,
that's where I'm at.
but aren't we relying on the website? I mean,
No, we're not. That
So-
website was really a disclaimer. It wasn't, it's
right, but it points out what the issues
So
are.
this is my,
All right,
I think that we can, because we've gone through
all right,
the steps of being briefed on it, discussing it, we went through and had observations of the system and its, certain issues with it. So as far as like the additions and, because like now it reads as it attributes the finding to our group rather than us referencing to
all right.
DLNR's website. So it's seems stylistic, but to me, it's like,
what
no,
does
this
make
is the
it, yeah,
finding
you know,
of
does,
our group.
I guess I'm not, I don't know if that's a finding that the group, we went through every one of these.
Well, I think I've put them on the table 20 times, but and I did check the website before I finalized
Yeah.
this, and I see that it says updated 2024. So I wonder if Don told them to update the website, you
Rest
know,
assured.
because Sherry's gonna rely on it,
Yeah.
so you guys better be sure that it's right.
So
So that's, okay, originally I did it where I quoted, okay, but at the last meeting, you said, and for exactly that reason, okay? So all we did is we found what the deal in our website said,
Yeah.
okay? So I tried to do it that way to be very careful and make sure I didn't box anybody into a position about something that they didn't really have knowledge about. So I did it that way. We found that the website said this, okay? Then you wanted to summarize it. Okay, so I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll make it shorter, you know, so that's a good idea. But then when I dug in more, I thought, well, he cut too much stuff out, and I didn't agree with that and everything. But he did say we didn't have to, right? So we didn't have to quote them. So I took all the quotes out. So I did save some language.
so the test that I'm gonna
All right.
be using in my decision making on whether to accept or reject is after hearing and seeing all the presentations, information shared about PLTIS, as well as the other inventories and what we know about like the inventory system in general. Is that a finding? Is that a fair conclusion that I can make as a working group member? That's my frame that I'm gonna
Okay.
go through this.
But could we go back to
So,
my original?
Well,
All right, go ahead.
I think that this fairly, I can probably
Okay,
say that I can conclude with these statements because we've already gone through and I've,
all right.
but I will have the caveat that I think I went through the website and everything as part of like the process of writing it and not
Mhm.
necessarily the presentation, and it gets kind of blended. But
Okay, well, I think that would be good if we can do it. I did take a more critical view of it after the last meeting and when I added back stuff in terms of trying to maybe make it a little bit more of a summary, but I also was very careful not to say anything myself. Okay, I didn't make up anything other than what was already there.
So some of my concerns, I have not gone as closely as Ryan has. These aren't findings that I feel very comfortable making. So the alternative is that we are attaching all of the agency's responses because no,
We
that,
can't,
oh, no, we
didn't
can.
get, we didn't,
can.
you
Well,
mean
we-
the ones where we got?
Yeah, those were responsive.
All
You
right,
may
we
not
can
have
attach
agreed,
them.
you may not have agreed with like the University of Hawaii or DOT. And I think that's been part of the state's position is each department self-reports based upon their interpretation of the act. Now, perhaps that's not consistent with everybody, but I think I would rather than me making a finding that this is what DOT or the University of Hawaii said, I would rather attach their letters in response to our requests. So I would ask that all of the responses that were provided by the state agencies, because the report reads like they didn't respond, but they did. We did receive.
I think we could
response.
add a thing that they did. Well,
Well, I
not
would
everybody
attach- I would
responded.
attach all of the
Not
letters,
everybody
all
responded.
of the letters that the agency responded to, because I think they speak for themselves as to how they are reporting, how they are submitting their, what kinds of instructions they have, that I think the legislature, rather than relying upon a deal on our website, we should let these agencies speak for themselves as to what they are reporting. And let the record reflect that these are the statements from the agencies, because I've not made a specific finding that DOT, I think this was like,
Yeah, so that's the one, there's a couple of, on page 8, Amber.
yeah,
So there's a couple of, go back up, page 8 in the blue. Thank you. The top 2 paragraphs, okay. So there's a couple of findings where I don't know if I don't know where to attribute to in terms of like, it's in the presentations or letters or what, but that would be the offshore boring issue, as well as the airports division. Is that also in the PLTIS?
That, all of that is from the PLTIS.
It is?
Yes.
So that's the one where I'm
Okay,
trying to
so,
find.
I mean, maybe what we should have done is we should have had have you ask your staff, because I'm assuming you haven't been looking
So-
at the DOT reporting yourself. Somebody else at DLNR has made that comment.
What I'm saying is like.
so and I'll be honest, yeah.
So, but that's why I did it, when I did it originally, I did it so that I quoted the website.
Sure.
So it wasn't something I learned
Yeah.
from you,
Right.
right? It was something that
But
is on the website.
But I think the DLNR's website, Land Division's website, is a reflection of what they're doing to upgrade their system, separate and independent from what we're doing.
Mm,
So I guess I mean, if we're going to keep in your summaries of, rather than quoting, I mean, so similar to OHA's, your supplemental report, for me, I would like the record to reflect and to include as, perhaps that's a state's summary report that maybe we submit a supplemental of all of the responses and the correspondence that was sent out to the state agencies and all of the state agencies' responses. Because like I said, in my view, the legislature should get a full, accurate picture of how the departments are actually responding.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I'm understanding what everybody's saying. So let me just summarize what I think
Okay,
you and
okay,
Ryan have
okay.
said to me, or said to us, is now that the report, now that it's not a direct quote of the deal in our website, you think that we should include all the responses of the agencies? If we were to go back to quoting it the way I did it to begin with, would you still think that we
Oh,
should?
yes. And I
Okay.
haven't discussed it with Ryan or Lewis, but I think for having a complete record of what we've done, we did include in there that we submitted letters, and agencies submitted responses. I think that should be reflected in this report as well.
Well, we do
that's-
say that, but what do you
that's-
think about
then
submitting all
attach
the
the
letters?
Yeah, attached to
Stacy?
responses.
What do you think about submitting all the
So that-
letters
so that
that
I
we
can
got
kind of-
back? from
Yeah.
So
some
that'd be like the right
agencies?
place.
A
to,
few that we got.
Yeah, if you,
see reference.
I think that's a signal.
okay.
How
Yeah,
few
so
we got.
I think,
Because I know that Amber,
all right,
I
so
think Amber
if we
sent those
agree-
out to us.
if we agree to that, then you'll leave all my language in? Is that the deal?
Well, that, not yet, not yet. Aside from what we've agreed to on the previous, and then
Okay, I think we should go back to how I did.
I would
All right,
be fine with the inclusion of pretty much all this, except for pretty much this portion, and then also the mooring issue.
yeah,
Because I don't think this is a true statement. I mean, I know you took it from the website.
yeah.
I'm not sure whether that's like complete and accurate, that we use it.
I think there was one thing that we did have
Because-
somebody talk,
And
come
so
and
this is
talk
like-
about.
Background that I've
All right,
since learned.
all right,
with these mooring.
okay,
I think there's a different system in place
all right,
that needs to be like. so I can't-
updated.
Yeah, I can't make that conclusion.
Could we do this? Could you take
And so
those
that
two
and then
paragraphs?
The airport's issue.
Could you take those two paragraphs and go back to DLNR and ask people?
I don't want to push this report further. I want to like.
All right.
Get to a final.
Because I
Okay,
think it's due 20 days before
All right.
legislatures.
okay,
which
So
would
that,
be-
that puts us on December 26th.
all right. So, okay, let's go back to my comment about trying to understand what it is that you're asking. Are you asking that if we don't quote it and put it as a general thing, we include all the letters? Or are you asking that if we do quote it, we don't need to include the letters?
No,
So
I'm,
what I'm saying is, as far as how it's presented now, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
As far
I
as the
see.
statements that are
Those
provide
two.
these changes, I would vote to approve based off of my criteria that I explained before. All of the inclusion, the additions or revisions,
Mhm.
except for those two statements. That's for me,
Alright.
that's for me as member of the working group, that's how I cut it. going through
Okay.
every-
So that's
So
small
that's for
3
me.
and small 4.
That's for me. Yeah.
Okay, so. Uh,
Louis, do you have any
Okay.
comments before I comment?
No, go ahead.
So-
go ahead.
Obviously, Ryan and I have not spoken, so.
No,
That's
so-
No,
okay.
and
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay,
No,
go
no, no.
ahead,
So,
John.
so I'm looking at, I am, I remain a little uncomfortable. I mean, I'm trying to be as factual as possible. So,
okay,
so I think some of these summaries, I can't say that with certainty that that's a finding that I can make as PLT working group member. So I am actually looking back at, going back, and you just quoted the website and just have the website as quoted.
all right,
So go back to the original.
So go back to the original so
right.
that there's no objectivity here. This is what
Okay.
DLNR's website says.
right,
And it just, rather than putting them into 1, 2, 3, just quote the whole website.
All right.
You know, and then, but
okay,
we also attach the, all of the correspondence that we've sent out. Because I think we did do a lot. We sent
Yeah.
out 2 series of letters.
Okay.
We also sent out federal letters that I think the record should reflect what the work that we've done. And thank you, Jermaine, 16 meetings. That's quite a bit for.
Yeah.
I mean, we were very, we
yeah,
shared, convene the meetings every month and we met regularly. So I
yeah,
think the record should reflect that, all the work that we've done. But I also think that departments should speak on their own behalf DLNR doesn't speak for them. And the best way to do that is attaching their correspondence. Because again, in my view, the fix is not us, it's not the governor, it's the ledge. And I think the legislature needs to recognize when they read through the letters, the inconsistency of some of the interpretation.
Could we also note then, because I think it's important to reflect that so few did respond.
Sure, I mean, I think it's fair to say we put out who we sent that to, and then so again, trying to be objective, they'll draw that conclusion without us having to say it.
Yeah.
So we just put, these were all distributed, and it was a very long list that Amber did.
Yeah, I
So-
think she did a Excel
Yeah, she
spreadsheet. We
did,
could,
right.
we could use
Yeah,
that.
we could use that
All
too,
right.
but I think it would be helpful again, because I
All
went
right.
back and read through these, and like I said, for me, the difficulty with this, with complying is that we've got each department interpreting and applying why, but they explain themselves why they're not reporting or what they're reporting.
If they did explain anything.
If they-
Most
yeah.
of the letters practically say nothing, but that's a,
Yeah. yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
so I think we have agreement,
yeah.
which
I mean,
is,
well, what do you think?
I
Do-
agree.
if-
I
mean,
agree exactly
yeah,
what you-
so I have
Are you okay
agreement.
with that? Are you okay?
We're
with
gonna,
that?
we're gonna just,
Sorry,
we're gonna
sorry.
just quote the
Yeah,
website,
just quote the
oh,
website.
the whole website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quote that website without putting into paragraphs.
Yeah,
just
right,
Quote the
just,
website. Yeah,
exactly.
and
And
then.
maybe we'll attach that page too,
Could
because
be, yep.
the thing is, I gave the link to the website.
Oh,
I added that in,
Okay,
but
okay.
you have to sign up for the
oh,
website
no, that's
to
true.
get
that's
to
true,
that
that's
page,
true.
which anybody could sign up for. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of people who
Yeah,
won't
yeah, yeah.
figure it out.
So
Okay,
I think
All
that,
right.
that's a good compromise.
All right.
And that makes a more full record.
okay,
Like,
all right.
So we'll include the reference to the attached responses on page 4, under section B
okay.
in that.
Oh, yeah,
first-
yeah,
after
yeah,
that
yeah,
first
yeah,
line,
yeah, yeah,
Because it summarizes that.
Right.
right.
Okay, so let's just do that.
Yeah.
All right. And
So
we get to get the
listening to
Excel.
you attorneys,
It's really boring.
I'm not gonna say. I think one of the most outstanding thing in our 16 meeting discussions is how the departments are reporting. Should we make a recommendation in this report as to some kind of template to make sure every department covers everything that brings in income? That's my question.
Well,
Because you folks talk about this department say this, well, let's make sure that they're thinking the same way. Why should they think differently? The department's operations are different, but as far as reporting income, they should be thinking the same way.
So I would agree with you, Chair, and my recollection and what
Mhm.
from our discussion is, it's a two-step process. The first step is ensuring that the inventory is accurate. So that's what we're trying to do, get some additional funds to do an assessment of, because everybody relies upon DLNR's PLTIS. So this legislative, so I think to explain to the legislature, we're doing two steps. First step is determining the accuracy of the inventory so that it is complete. And then second will be, based upon that, this is how each department is reporting. And I think the ultimate recommendation may be to the legislature pursuant to the case law, and you need to decide, you need to clarify if there's any changes. In my view, it's up to the legislature. So what we need to do is outline what are the shortcomings in the accounting of the revenue, because I think that's part of the different interpretations that they're having.
I don't
that's
think we're
number
ready
two.
at this point
Yeah,
to
no, we're
do
not,
that
you're
because
not ready.
we've
Yeah.
kind of tossed around the template, but because
Right.
we're only
Right.
two departments that are here, we don't know the details. That's what we need. The
Well, shouldn't
professionals.
that be part of the work that we're gonna
Hopefully,
hire
yeah.
people to do?
Yeah,
Because they're gonna be the ones in the department.
right. But then we
and-
sent them letters to get more information from them, and basically they didn't provide us with
So
anything.
I think,
Go
may I
ahead.
add? I think the template is a good idea, but I think that only is sort of half of the solution. There needs to be some way to verify that what's being put into the template is accurate.
Right.
And there's nobody verifying that information, right? So even if they have supporting documents that go with that template, somebody has to be reviewing to make sure that that's accurate before it goes into the PLTIS. And that's a huge missing piece. And that's a human resources issue, right? There's going to have to be an individual who that's their job, right? To be doing this auditing, because that's the quality control. Because other than that, we can put anything into a template,
No,
right?
100% agree, and I think that the template issue to me would be a part of the recommendation of the entire like process that you're recommending.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's a piece of it. So
Mhm.
no, I don't know if, and also from like the drafting side and getting this report into the legislature on time, I don't know if I can like
Yeah.
say to you that I'm gonna be able to turn around a template
Yeah,
for
Oh,
the
yeah.
to attention.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough
So that's why,
information.
that's all I
I don't
on
think
the
we can even
practical
do it.
issue, yeah.
I just don't
Do
think we
that.
have enough information
And
now.
maybe the inventory, once we get that audit, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
underway, that'll be some of the recommendations that would be in that report.
And that could be part of the procurement description is we
Yeah.
want to find out what it is that they're using, what template do they have
Mhm.
internally that they're using, and then we can compare them all. Right now, we
And-
just
and what
don't know.
auditing function
Yeah.
is in
Well,
place for.
different
Yeah,
ones.
okay.
The different departments have different.
All right, so how are we
templates.
doing here? We're gonna
Yeah.
finish up?
So I
yeah.
guess to just to follow up, and I have not discussed it, but I
Alright.
hear what Chair is saying, and I think, you know, with the information that's being provided, with the addition of the responses that are coming back, it kind of draws the conclusion that there's a challenge that exists with uniformity of the information that's being provided. So I think, given the report, or at least where we're going down this report, I think a reasonable person can draw that conclusion.
right.
Right.
That's what, if, and perhaps, and again, I haven't discussed this with our team too, but I'd like something for all of us to consider, is when the report is finished, we should try to schedule a meeting with legislative leadership to brief them on
good idea.
where we are
Mhm.
and what our long-term goal is, so that they just don't see this $1 million request coming in isolation. It is
a
part
good
of a
idea.
longer-term
Yeah.
process
Okay,
to ultimately resolve this. To me, that I think would be a good product, because here, we're sitting in the room and we understand it.
Yes.
The ledger's gonna look at this like, what is this?
What are you
You know,
requesting?
yeah,
Right, what are you
what's your
requesting? Yeah,
recommendation?
yeah,
Or what-
yeah.
So I think if they understand that, you know, this has been a long standing since 1978, right?
right.
And we're trying to find a solution. We've been tasked, but this is the process that we're, I think briefing the legislative leadership would be very helpful.
Mhm.
So once we
I think so
complete this
too.
report, we can try to schedule a meeting with them.
Is that an
Mhm.
info briefing you're looking at or something more informal?
So I
Maybe.
think maybe,
Maybe informal at
yeah,
first.
that's what I
and then-
think.
And
I
then
think. I
if
think.
they do choose to take it into an info briefing,
Yeah.
leave it up to them.
I mean, it will permit candid discussion between us
Awesome.
and them as well.
Got it. Mahalo.
So I think that may be helpful.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that because I think we've had 16 meetings and we have a good understanding of where we want to go. And especially, you know, Chair, your point about that may be the end result is this template. But we're proposing that these other things need to be done first
And I understand that.
and that they take our legislative requests seriously, because that is a linchpin to the next step.
Oh, yeah. big
So
thing.
I think it would be helpful for them to have a full picture of what we've been doing and what we're proposing as a process moving forward. We don't have the outcome, but we've got a process that we think will get them closer to the outcome.
Mhm. I agree.
Okay.
I think that's a
Thank
really good
you.
idea. Thank you. Jill.
Working together, we're
We've always
working
been working
together.
together.
No, that's true. I mean, but
Yeah.
I do think that, and you know, we've mentioned this several times. I think the composition of this group lends to, yeah, this group is, while we've had at times heated discussions, I think all of us share the same mission, is wanting to do this right and wanting to ensure that the Native Hawaiian people do get what they're entitled to.
Yeah.
So.
So shall
Well,
we
and I
move
think
on to
it's
the
good
last
too
item?
That we
Review.
we listed all the other,
Yeah.
to go in with what you just
Right.
said, we've listed all the other efforts that have been made in this
Yes,
regard.
yes,
So,
yes,
you know, I
yes.
think all the other inventories, all the
Right.
other acts, set up
Yeah.
groups to work on this. Everything is very good. Okay, go ahead, Chair.
Review OHA supplement to PLT WG interim report. Jermaine, would you like to give your comments?
Okay, okay.
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair. Can I get a second to pull up? Okay, there's my notes. Okay. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in regards to OHA's supplementary report, first, I would like to speak about my appreciation that the responses from the agencies will be included in the working group report. But I also feel that a chart or a graph should be provided to show the percentage of responses so that in a snapshot, the legislatures can get an idea, and it shouldn't be in OHA's supplementary report, but it should be in the working group's report, that they should get an idea of how confusing it is for OHA when to receive such a report, meaning lack of responses or conflicting responses, and that will give a snapshot picture of the obstacles that OHA has been trying to overcome for many years. In the supplemental report, I want to highlight on page 2 of OHA's 8-page supplemental report, and specifically on paragraph 1 and 2 and 3, I want to highlight what is stated in paragraph 1 for all of us to quite remember in order to understand the justification for OHA's supplemental report. Paragraph 1, I want to share the Hawaii Supreme Court found that many state statutes were in accord with the apology resolution. At the end of the paragraph, the Hawaii legislature has specifically acknowledged that the indigenous people of Hawaii were denied their lands and has anticipated further action by the legislature to reach the lasting reconciliation so desired by all of Hawaii. Next paragraph, in OHA versus HCDCH, the Hawaii Supreme Court clearly recognized these historic injustices and the imperative of the restoration of lands to Native Hawaiians. The court reaffirmed that Congress, the Hawaii State Legislature, the parties, and the trial court all recognize, number one, the cultural importance of the land to Native Hawaiians. 2, that the ceded lands were illegally taken from the Native Hawaiian monarchy. And number 3, that future reconciliation between the state and the Native Hawaiians. As a condition of statehood, the Hawaii Admission Act required the Hawaii to adopt the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. So that was the first effort to reconcile. But in addition, the state agreed to the imposition of a public trust upon all of the lands ceded to the state upon admission. And one of the 5 purposes for which the public trust is to be carried out is for the betterment of the conditions of Native Hawaiians. Pro rata, the meaning of pro rata is equal portion. So we've never come up with 20% as just a shoot it out there. Let's say, give us 20%, state keeps 80. There are 5 reasons, there are 5 purposes, and each one is to have equal share. But my concern is that OHA is not getting its equal share because there is more than one interpretation of all the state agencies. And that is the issue that we have. There is always supposed to be one interpretation. The government, the legislature, the governor, when they send out a message, it's one message. The governor sends his message, the legislature sends to us their message. They don't send it to us 51 messages of 51 legislatures. When they're done convening, there's one message. This law is adopted, this resolution is adopted per the 51. And the governor basically says, yes, I agree with the 51. So there's a check and balance. But that's not happening with OHA, with the pro rata share. We agree that pro rata means equal share. But why is there more than one interpretation? Just like the legislature has one interpretation and one law representing all 51 legislatures, there needs to be one interpretation of what is going to be the template or the equation that is going to be followed equally amongst all state agencies.
Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 3.
Point of order.
Yes.
Chairman. So going back, I know we just received testimony on item 2.3. Can we have a vote to approve item 2.2, the joint PLTWG draft interim report to legislature as with the revisions as reflected by our conversation?
Sure.
Yes,
okay,
and
good idea.
could we add that we'll have several exhibits? I can't recall if I included the airport revenue getting paid from other sources in that report. Did I add that into the report? I mean, it's a report. We introduced that. Anyways, assuming that it's part of the report, that would be Exhibit A. Exhibit B would be the PLTIS disclosure page, which would include all of those things that we've gone back and forth about. C would be the spreadsheet of all the answers.
Spreadsheet or just actual
Spreadsheet.
response?
No,
Yes.
D would be the actual responses.
Okay.
C would be the spreadsheet of the responses we did get.
Okay.
Maybe we need one more exhibit, which would be the letter that, a example of the letter we sent out to the agencies.
Sure, I
That would be preceding the responses. on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that we've done, never mind the letters I gave everything, but we would attach those and you and I would decide which ones would go first and second.
Would you
Okay,
be okay if chronologically it followed the report?
I,
So would be have attachment A would be next to D1,
In
when we
order.
talked about the summary of the PLT
Oh.
activities.
Mhm.
So that the attachment should follow the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're referenced in the report so
Yeah.
that the legend knows. And then,
okay,
I mean, I think we should include all of the correspondence, because I think we sent
Okay.
out at least,
Cordell
two-
also, right?
yeah, we
well, I
sent.
don't think we need to,
but-
I mean, we sent the same letter to every
Yeah,
state
yeah,
agency.
We did write to all the state agencies.
But
and I
no, you
think
don't
we
want to
sent
include every single letter, just.
Oh, no,
Oh,
just a
sample.
template,
Yeah.
a sample,
All
at least
right.
one, and then a spreadsheet of who it got sent to.
Mhm.
I think Amber kept a really good log. I remember
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
sent something to us. So both the correspondence of what we sent, and it should be consistent with what we
Yeah.
have here in,
chronology.
the
Yeah.
chronologies. I think that flows.
Okay,
And
that's
as you're
fine.
reading the report, then you can reference it.
That's fine.
and then I think
should we
you're-
do the letters to the feds too? We sent letters to the feds.
We mentioned that in our.
Yeah, so it's, we'll
Yeah,
send
so-
us the letters to
Same
the
thing.
feds.
Right.
So you and I will
In the
figure out
order.
those
Yeah.
details.
Okay,
Okay.
we appreciate
And
that.
we'll try to make it make sense, but
I'll-
if it doesn't, it's Ryan's fault.
I'll accept that friendly amendment.
Okay.
All right.
Motion.
All right. So, okay, the amendment is to include
Exhibit.
relevant exhibits that
That are
would-
referenced in the document.
are referenced in the document and that the task of completing that is assigned to Ryan and Sherry.
Before I call for the vote, I'm going to ask Everett if your question or your comment was relative to the vote.
It was basically, to ask for the same.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, the amendment.
Okay.
We had a sidebar and I was like, hey, wait, we need to go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
Amber,
goodness
can
for
you
these
call for the
guys.
vote?
I'll call
Yes.
for the vote.
I have Ryan made the motion and anybody second, Sherry? did-
Sherry
I
seconded.
seconded it
Okay, so
And
Sherry,
and I
Okay.
made an amendment And Ryan seconded that.
Got it. Sherry Broder,
Aye.
Don Chang,
Aye.
Brooke Gualtieri is excused, Ryan Kanakaole,
Aye.
Hulu Lindsay,
Aye.
Luis Salaveria.
I,
We have 5 yes votes. Motion passes.
Good job. Good
Wow.
job, everybody.
Okay, so for the supplement, I think the only real question to you folks is what do you want us to call it? Do you want us to call it? I use the word addition and supplement, but
I think supplement.
Supplement is okay?
Yeah, supplement.
All right,
I'm
so
okay with
we will
supplement.
call it that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. I came up with more words in case you liked something better.
And I totally
All right.
trust both Sherry and Ryan, but before we submit it, can all of us see one final version?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was gonna
Yeah.
be my next
Okay.
question.
Yeah, but
What-
okay, but for
what do we
sunshine
need to do
purposes,
Before,
wait, I
the
just,
next,
okay.
before we submit the report, what do we need to do?
So we'll finalize the
Yeah.
version, and then so typically these reports get transmitted with a transmittal, so because you're the chair of the group, you would sign off on the transmittal, so I think after we finalize everything, put the exhibits in, get the transmittal letter together, we can then send it to the group pre-signature, pre-sending up the transmittal and the report.
Okay,
But just for sunshine purposes, and the
We've been-
circulation,
Yeah.
why don't we have Amber do it?
Or
Okay.
Is that-
BCC everybody on the pre-final.
do we have a
Yeah.
deadline?
20 days before, so Ryan, you said December
26 would
26th.
be the
December
deadline to
26th.
submit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would hope
Day
that we
after
get that
Christmas.
Before.
faster
Yeah.
before,
Yes, yes.
much be,
Yeah.
Merry
especially before the
Christmas, eh?
changes.
I'm
Yes.
optimistic. By next
Um,
week, these two will work it out.
And
Yeah.
then
I think so.
we can, send it out. I think there shouldn't be an issue with sunshine if we BCC the pre-final, because that'll give you at least time, if you see something in the pre-final, to just like send, like,
Yeah.
reach out to me,
Okay.
make a change if necessary.
That I think might be more of a sunshine issue.
Yeah,
So I would say that if there is a necessity for a change,
Oh, I
then a
see.
meeting would be convened to kind of finalize whatever final revision. Because there
Okay.
can't really be that intergroup
Oh, I see.
communication to
Interaction.
affect the change outside of the.
All right.
Well, maybe we
But-
could make Everett in charge of the final and he could send it out and then we could communicate with him if there's any changes.
It can only be, if anything, it can only be a one-way, so I cannot kind of
I say, okay,
I would, yeah.
Okay.
all right.
We
So
cannot kind of
maybe we.
reconcile those differences. I guess I would say that, I think the intention is to kind of be able to
Right.
finalize the exhibits in a, in a way that's acceptable to all sides involved.
Right.
That be compiled into the final report. The final report kind of goes out and nobody has a substantive objection to the final report. And then it just,
Right.
after a certain amount of review time passes, then it gets kind of
Okay.
submitted. If not, a concern gets raised that needs to be resolved in a meeting of the working group, which can maybe be held remotely and kind of.
Maybe for,
But I was gonna say,
I'm sorry.
otherwise we have that authorization from the vote this group just took
Mhm.
to proceed, again, unless there's something objectionable in the final.
So word to us is minimize any, it better be a very good comment if you've got one. If not, we've delegated it.
all right,
And I think if we've got any concerns, we can let Ryan or Sherry know ahead of time, so it's incorporated into the final product. But it does sound like, don't make any final changes, because procedurally, we may end up missing the deadline of
Yeah.
December 26th.
I think that
Yeah.
we've discussed it quite
I
a
think so
bit. I
too.
mean,
I
this
think
is
so
like
too.
the 4th or 5th time
Mm.
we've reviewed
Yes,
the
yes,
report
yes, yes,
and,
yes.
You will not have comments on this.
Okay, okay.
okay, I
We
agree
take
with
your word,
Ryan. Even I agree with Ryan.
I'm gonna
I
ask.
like that.
My assurance.
Yeah,
That- I
yeah,
like that,
exactly.
Ryan, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, I'm-
You don't even need to
I'm
send
gonna
it
ask
to me.
Stacy to,
Yeah,
All right.
I just had one question for the group. So early on, we had also talked about, doing the GM for the budget request, but we had also talked about having simultaneously a bill with appropriation, asking for the same amount. Can we still are we still planning to move forward with that? So OHA can put that in as part of our bill package, or do we put that in?
There's nothing against those two tracking.
Yeah,
separately.
exactly. But I just wanted to make sure that, are we still in agreement that that's,
Oh, who would submit that bill? That would be.
we
That
could
would
put
be
it
us,
in
yeah.
through
Okay,
our.
okay, that
our
would be
We'd
admin
good.
just do
package.
the same thing we did last
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
We just change the amount.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
okay,
you
but
folks are
otherwise
agreeable?
to leave the
Yeah.
bill the
There's no-
same.
yeah, no
Well, it
change on
was
my side.
amended in Shimabukora's committee.
Okay, so we'll
But,
just,
yeah,
so we'll
let's
just
do-
change the amount.
Yeah.
And then we can circulate it with
Okay.
this.
All right,
Okay.
Change the amount to what?
a million.
Increase to what?
Okay,
Mahalo.
okay. So, when should we have our next meeting?
Well, maybe after the report gets submitted, and maybe if we can schedule the informal briefing with the ledge, we can do a prep meeting right before then.
Yeah,
So
that
if we
makes
can
Who will
work that
schedule?
out.
Who will be responsible to schedule the meeting? The informal
Do you
meeting?
guys want to, do you want to?
Oh, I don't-
You got more connections than we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I follow up with you folks to see who should be
Sure.
invited to that?
Sure, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Can
Yeah,
do.
yeah, no, yeah,
know.
but I think, yeah, it's, yeah.
So when I knock on doors, sometimes they don't. open.
Exactly, me too, yeah. They close them on us, so yeah, I think Stacy. you might be the-
January?
Yeah, I think January, because session opens, what, 15th?
16th.
16th?
So prior to opening?
I think so, because they're
Well,
gonna be really
Our
busy.
first committee meetings are on January 8th.
Yep.
And
Okay.
our investiture is January
Oh,
9.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think budget briefings start first week of January
Yes.
already.
We've
so-
already
We're
got
the
our
6th.
notice, yes, yeah. Oh, you guys are 6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So, yeah, so we've got to squeeze it in their schedule, and I think yeah. If you
Okay,
can
I'll follow
find
up with
that.
you
Yeah, That's
folks.
great, that's great, that's great.
Okay.
know.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
excellent.
Amber, roll call. Oh,
Okay.
who seconded?
Me,
You.
he made it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are gonna hold off on making your folks next,
Meeting.
PLT working group. I'll work with everybody's secretary to
Thank
schedule
you.
the next one. Okay, Sherry Broder,
Aye.
Don Chang,
Aye.
Brooke Gulletary is excused, Ryan Kanakoole, Hulu Lindsay,
Yeah.
and Louis Salaveria.
I,
We have 5 yes votes, meeting
you.
adjourned.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you very much,
Okay.
everyone.